Trackside, Alex Le Gui down on that very busy grid, and you can see all the teams, the drivers and also the VIPs enjoying the atmosphere of this final race build-up of the season. And a great season it has been there. Number 78, a car that led yesterday and then had a puncture. Josh Rattick and Mackenzie Cresswell, the two drivers, and it will start from pole position for this race, courtesy of a time set by Mackenzie Cresswell.
Yeah, double pole position for the Elite Motorsport team, reigning champions. You can see the mechanics there taking off the brake blanking, so they obviously get the brake super hot on this outlap to then radiate into the non-tyre ovened tyres.
Now, Josh Rattigan had a rather frustrating time yesterday, having had that puncture and also a penalty for jumping the start. He is with Alex Le Gui on the grid. Let's hear from him.
Josh, here we are again. Redemption for yesterday's race, hopefully?
Yeah, I think we need it. We need to end the season on a high. Obviously, we don't have the best of years compared to last year. Obviously, winning the championship. We had a few issues this weekend, obviously, yesterday, leading the race. Obviously, had the pace to just drive off. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on our side, but hopefully today, like I said, redemption comes. Yeah,
tyre management is really the key issue here in Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, under safety car and full course shadow, I saved the tyres, wasn't weaving, as you probably saw on the onboards, saved the tyres as much as I can, did any curbs. Then out of nowhere, hit the brakes at turn one and then pop. Yeah, not ideal.
Well, fingers crossed for race two.
Thank you.
Not ideal is the understatement, isn't it? I mean, it's a very, very fast pit straight, a long pit straight, and a very heavy brake at the end of it.
Yeah, 240 Ks, and then the front left just vacated the chat, didn't it? And had to nurse it home all the way around the lap. And yeah, he did a good job to keep it out the wall. Another good job was done by this car, and this driver in particular took the lead with about 3 laps to go, didn't he? And then just kept Piana at bay.
Yeah, Hadrian David in the Toyota that was the winning car yesterday, shared with local hero Jan Duran. It was Gabriele Piana and Bekke Bessler that took second place. And dramas kicked off really on the opening lap, didn't they? We had the Edwin Helston Porsche and Greg Gilbert Paul Petit Audi making contact. They both spun, and off in avoidance went the Robert Consigny Benjamin Lariche Audi that was very badly delayed as a result of that.
Yeah, showed good pace, and that's been the story of the championship really for the Audi, especially from Speed Car. They've been on top of it. But we do have another Audi at the sharp end. On the third row, Willie Motorsports, and Sergei Nikolai has been very quick this weekend, so one to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, he shares with Tudoraki, as you see the Manufacturers' Cup points, the global competition, because GT4 is a very popular series these days. But if you take Europe, BMW M ahead of Porsche, with Mercedes AMG, then Toyota only 3 points back, and Aston Martin next. There are, of course, other manufacturers represented on this grid, taking McLaren or Lotus as two more examples, just to show the popularity of GT4. It was a slow burn, but now has become very popular indeed. So the grid is formed, we are good to go, and the real attention in this is going to be over Pro-Am with Stanislav Safronov and Alexander Weintraub as the leaders. Let's get back to the grid. Alex, I think, is with Stanislav Safronov.
Stanislav, here you are. You have a very healthy lead. Are you ready to add another trophy to that ever-growing trophy cabinet?
So, like yesterday, it's long, race is long, and we need lucky because performance car is not good in this weekend and race pace is not good, but we try to make what we can, and let's see.
All right. Fingers crossed.
History could be made because they're already the French GT champions, the GT4 rule set only in France, and they could do French and European titles in the same season. Number 3 is the championship winning Audi of Robert Consigny and Benjamin Lariche, a new livery for this weekend to reflect the crash helmet colours of the late Jules Bianchi. And for Team Speed Car, a great season. They have been on top of the game all the way through the year, and it is going to be Robert Consigny who will go first this time, the former rally driver. He and Benjamin Lariche had worked so hard in order to put together a championship assault, and this year everything has gelled, whereas last year they just seemed to be beset by ill fortune.
Yeah, really have been the form team all over the season. To wrap it up and be able to just enjoy this last round at Barcelona is something special.
In Pro-Am, Hendrik Still and Joachim Bulting, the nearest opposition to Stanislav Safronov. Bad race yesterday, though, for Hendrik Still. How's he feeling today? Alex can find out.
All right, Henrik, this is not where you want to start this race. This is a very important decider. You need luck to really be on your side, don't you now?
Yeah, I mean, we hope a little bit for a chaotic race. Maybe some raindrops are coming, so that could help us with the Porsche. But to be honest, it's really hard. It's tough. I mean, we need to have a really perfect race. Also, the championship leader Safronov need to struggle and make any mistakes. It's the only chance for us to catch the championship. But we just look at us, and we try to do our best, bring it safe home, make the points, and let's see what happens. Yeah.
All right, I shall go and do a rain dance for you. Have a good one.
Yeah, there are some rain spots in the air, and rain is, I think you were saying, forecast for the afternoon, so Hendrik still would like it to arrive sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's coming in off the med, so it's going to hit at some point, my forecast says, but I think the GT4s will race under dry conditions, but much more overcast, isn't it, this race than yesterday, so that will be different for the teams and harder to potentially get the tyres up to operating window.
So looking down on that grid, and there you can see how overcast it has become. Nice and sunny earlier on, but it's certainly feeling a bit cooler, and Stefan Rattal strides down the grid. It is certainly getting a bit more cloudy overhead. Stefan himself has been racing today in GT2, and there is 812, Charlie Hart and Callum Davis's car. Charlie Hart had a very good run yesterday, and he starts third on the grid here. So he's had another impressive season. And when it's such a busy grid, sometimes you get a bit lost in these races, but it's been a fine effort this year by Charlie Hart.
Yeah, and they've had troubles, haven't they? Reliability mainly, pace has been there, and then finally yesterday they got that breakthrough podium position, and you could always see the relief on Charlie Hart's face when they finally got across the line as well. And similar for Callum Davis as well, and both being strong this year, and hopefully they can finish with a double podium this weekend.
As there is the Stanislav Safronov, Alexander Weintraub, Aston, good to go. The grandstands, which are very busy this weekend, which is great to see as part of the Festival de la Velocidad. The fans all good to go. There, Sergiu Nicolai, who went really well yesterday in the sort of ink-splattered livery on the Audi.
Yeah, a distinctive splatter, isn't it, all over the Willy Motorsport car. And, yep, this car's been quick. We said earlier, didn't we, how quick the Audis have been, but really that's the speed car team running those, but good to see another team running Audis at the sharp end. So
McLaren and Toyota on the front row, two really different ways of, if you like, cracking the GT4 nut.
Yeah, really is, and with the amount of manufacturers in GT4, now 10 cars able to be picked from, which team you go with. Be interesting to see where the run goes, and it was the start yesterday, wasn't it? That was really the unravelling of all of Elite's motorsports problems. Ratcom went early, we saw the onboard, he went way before the red lights went, and that was the first issue for them in the race.
So that 1 minute board shown, everybody to now leave the grid, engineers, camera crews, officials, everybody. The lead car will take them around only the one formation lap, and then we will go racing. Pit window 25 to 35 minutes, 76 seconds. You've got to be in the pit lane 4. You're allowed 1 second of tolerance on the Joker once over the weekend as well.
Yeah, a few cars using it yesterday, and it's a strategy worth using. If you've got a close battle, the potential undercut of a second is worth having. But if you go under that, then the penalty, of course, very severe, and it will be a drive-through plus whatever you were under by.
So there, the 15-second board shown, and this time Mackenzie Cresswell to lead them away. He was very rapid in previous seasons as a single-seater driver, made that switch to GT cars in the GT4 Winter Series at the start of the year. Champion in that, so set him up nicely for this year. It's been a tough season for Eddie Ives' Elite Motorsport team. The cars adorned with lots and lots of names, all people that have given to the Parkinson's charity, because Elite is a patron, raising money for Parkinson's disease charity, and that's certainly a meritorious effort by Elite to help the charity and to raise awareness as well.
Yeah, great cause to keep raising money and awareness for that cause. Interesting, you get a good shot there of the marbles offline. The inside pole position, of course, because you want the inside for turn 1, but that is the dirty side of the racetrack. So you will see, I think, the inside row cars trying to get over to the racing line as quickly as they can at the start, but that potentially then opens up the door for people to dive bomb into one.
Mackenzie Cresswell starts on pole position for our final race of the year alongside Hadrian David. Then it's Charlie Hart and Robert Consigny on row 2. Row 3, Sergio Nicolai and Paul Petit ahead of Gabriele Piana and Michael Haverans. Then it is Thibaut Modrica, class winner yesterday with Hudson Schwartz. Then Pedro Ibrahim's BMW and Mark Kastelich's Mercedes AMG. Alex Papadopoulos next from Benjamin Lassen, car damaged yesterday. Brandon Oxley on the next row with Marco Signoretti for company ahead of Will Orton's Aston and Arthur Rasser's Porsche. Cindy Goudet was on the podium yesterday. Row 10 is where she starts today with Alexander Weintraub for company ahead of the AM champ Daniel Blickler and Alberto Nasca in the Lotus. Ruben Del Sart next with Paolo Maloney for company. Jose Carlos Pires next. And it is Ali Jafali starting in the car shed with his sister Rima. Michael Laboda alongside Ismail El Akhi, then Nico Ferran and Joachim Bolting next. Joachim Valder has Daniel Nilsson for company. Then it is Rutger Brakel under Erdin. Keith Gatehouse is 35th on the grid alongside Mats Olsen ahead of Ajith Kumar and Mikael Brunhagen with Julien Ripper rounding out the grid. The Jean-Mathieu Leandri and Anthony de Barn BMW withdrawn after damage sustained yesterday.
Who's your money on into turn 1 then? We spoke about the difference in performance of cars. The Toyota was very quick in a straight line, wasn't it? As has this BMW as well. So a few cars to watch out for. And what's Cresswell going to do? Is he going to go early or is he going to stick to the rules that his teammate didn't yesterday?
If he's got any sense, he'll do what he has to do and avoid any sense of a penalty. But the Toyota just looked really good yesterday, and with Adrien David, who was I think the quicker of the two drivers starting, I reckon that could be a possible car to lead out of turn 1. It's going to be interesting. The aero-friendly McLaren, the grunt and go long-nosed Supra lining up alongside. The Maserati then slows right down to bunch everybody up, to get everybody into formation. Maserati providing the official cars for the SRO Championships this year. So out of turn 13, the lead car almost at a crawl. It will dive to the right to pit in, and then it's going to be up to Mackenzie Cresswell and Hadrien David to control the pace in this rolling start. The Noah's Ark formation, they need to be 2 straight lines side by side on the run up towards the lights. Race director Joel Doval will give the signal to get the race underway for the final time. The GT4 European Series for 2025 is go, and a good start made by the McLaren, but diving out of the draft further back on the grid there is Paul Petit in the Audi. It is going to be McLaren 1-2. Hadrien David on the outside does not have the grunt in a straight line, and so Cresswell is going to lead Charlie Hart. Sergio Nicolai in the Audi at the inside as well, the grey car. He slots into the queue, so Cresswell leads. Up into second place is Hadrien David, and off the road goes Charlie Hart, the McLaren through the gravel, and there's drama in the background. Hart is stuck, and others have got caught up in other incidents. Yeah,
I think Hart trying to go round the outside of the Supra, and I think David just eased him off the racetrack there. Be interesting to see, was that a racing incident? Was that too forceful from David in that second place Supra?
We'll find out, but it does look as though Charlie Hart's stuck in the gravel, and I think we've also lost, potentially, another car as the field comes down towards turn 5. Safety car is called then. Safety car is called, and as the field accelerates now then on towards turn 7. We've lost the Hendrick Still Joachim Bolting Porsche, so that secures the Pro-Am title for Weintraub and Safronov straight off, because Bolting's got damage and he is going no further.
Yeah, rear right doesn't look correct, does it? And we've also lost the 25 Supra, the 99 Supra after a mega result yesterday, a huge amount of rear end damage. Would the car get together with Bolting? There's the 25 Supra in the barrier. The Charlie Hart one, like I said, there was side-to-side contact, I think, with the 87 Supra, but he really jinked off at a hard angle, so maybe the steering wheel grabbed from his hand as there was contact on his front left corner.
So quite a lot to sort out then for race control. The incident between Charlie Hart and who was in 25? Jose Carlos Pires noted. Well, I don't think those two cars got together, did they? They were many, many rows apart. Pires was quite a long way back on the grid, so the whole sequence, I think, is going to be looked at. If anybody was involved with Charlie Hart, it was Hadrien David in the Supra. So Mackenzie Cresswell leads them through at the end of lap number 1.
Yeah, right car in the Supra, but definitely not the 25. And even where they've gone off is in a different place. Wonder if they'll be able to get that car going again. And if they can get that unhitched in the next 10 seconds, it could even stay on the lead lap, that 25, the yellow Supra. But Charlie Hart properly beached in the gravel at turn 2.
And drivers now weaving around to try to maintain temperature in the tyres then as the cars come over the line. Through they turn. Fans there trying to find themselves on the big screens if they can. And out of turn 1, having to be very, very careful now with marshals working. Comes the lead pack. So one Supra is able to rejoin. Now, let's have another look at the start. And Joe, try and piece together who did what.
So the McLarens were working together, almost bump drafting into one, and actually we've gone red flag here, and I think that's to save being under safety car for too long while we recover. But watch the Supra, the second place car. There will be contact, I think, then as he comes off the curb, and it does just veer hard off into the wall, doesn't it? It's the slightest of contacts. Does it break the suspension, or does it just rip the hand, the wheel out the hand, sorry, there, and then just trying to spot the background. Where does the contact, it's concertinaing up, and it's the BMW in the back, and that's a huge, I'm amazed how much that barrier's moved. That's not a pleasant thing to see, but we said it yesterday, the concertina effect under safety car full course yellow is scary, and that's what has happened there, and it's caught out a few cars, and yeah, I think race control going red flag here because of the amount of cars that need to be recovered.
Well, it's barrier damage. I mean, you saw how much that deformed. That needs to be straightened. I think that's going to be the long part of this. So we are going to be under a rather lengthy stoppage by the look of it. Joel Derval talks to the local officials and says, how long is that going to take? And if they say, oh, good half an hour, then it's got no real choice, has he? Otherwise, we're not going to get a race as such. So there's a bit of scope in the timetable, but hopefully it won't take too long. We'll see how much time is going to be given to the drivers to, when they are under green, go back racing again. So red flag here. They'll all have to either head back to the pit lane or to the grid. The safety car will lead them to wherever the race director instructs.
Yeah, just the clock still ticking at the moment. We've seen that before, haven't we, where race control dealing with the incident and then we'll stop and reset the clock. But technically, the clock should be stopping under red flag. And yeah, I think you're right, David, that barrier damage. Be an interesting one to see how they repair it, because it's like a long snake, isn't it? It just needs to be pulled straight. And it's almost like when you make your bed, you need to give it a good flap and it'll be okay. And maybe they need to get some stronger blue tack underneath that barrier to keep it in place better next time.
It did its job of stopping the Cindy Goudet Toyota, but yeah, a lot of damage. You can see how far back it's been pushed, though. So, but it's going to take some time. And 98 BMW was the other car involved in all of that. Joachim Walde, he went out of the race, didn't he, with a spin on the last lap yesterday. Had a bit of a to-do with the Paolo Maloney BMW.
You can see the dirt where the barrier has been. That's moved, what, 2.5, 3 metres potentially, and the barrier itself damaged. And yeah, that's not been the best way to finish race 1 and not the best way to start race 2 for Walde and the 98 BMW car, which has run very strong at times this season. So cars being led over onto the start-finish straight, so cars will stop, always into park ferme conditions, and you can see Brunhagen there looking on, and it's better to be the driver out the car during a red flag because you are already out chilled. It's the driver in the car, you're going, can I get out the car? How long have I got for the restart? And all of those unknowns suddenly adding another level of stress to an already pretty intense situation.
So straight away, this starts to make life really intense in race control, because there's not only the barrier to be repaired, there is the resumption of this race to coordinate and the timetable for the rest of the day with a 3-hour GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup race to factor in as well. Not sure what we do in terms of a curfew here. They can have 24-hour races in Barcelona, but you don't have those every weekend, so there is a sort of normal cut-off point that you have to adhere to.
Yeah, we only had 40 minutes, didn't we, between the finish of this race and the start of the GT3 race. So that's obviously at least 20 to 30 minutes of procedural stuff getting the GT3s ready. So, yeah, the GT4s are under a tight time constraint right now. A bit of bodywork hanging down off the 24 Porsche driver, popping the door already to try and get some air. Farron there, down in 24th in the 24 car. Obviously getting pretty warm under these slow conditions. You would have thought when you're going slow as a driver, it's your chance to relax, but you get zero airflow and all the heat soak from the engine, the gearbox, and all those hot components. So suddenly they turn into a rather hot mobile sauna.
So the clock continues to tick, but we'll await more news as to the resumption of the race. There's the battered Toyota Supra in the pit lane of Jose Carlos Perez, and it's not so much getting cars out of gravel at turns 1 and 2, it is that barrier coming down towards turn 6, and you saw how far back it was pushed. These are how we look after effectively just one racing lap, but the bulk of the field have done 2. Those that haven't are the other side of the timing line there. As you can see, the checkered line is where the timing beam is. So some have gone over it and done 2 laps, others haven't quite, and therefore they've only done 1. We also lost, I think, somewhere in all of that, the Jafali McLaren. So Elite still having a tough weekend. That had broken suspension yesterday, didn't it? The Rima and Ali Al Jafali car. And again, problems here today as well.
I wonder if that was the car that got into the 25 Supra.
Yeah,
they
maybe.
started a position behind the car, that yellow car that was in the gravel barrier at 1. So that could be my detective work on that one. Interestingly, didn't stop the cars before the control line. Normally the red flag line is before that to stop this discrepancy of someone getting an extra lap depending on where you start. Of course, it will even out as they get going, but makes it even harder for race control to get this race back going in the right order as well, of course.
So how much of the race we will get remains to be seen. There are some drivers, of course, in the pit lane who are very disappointed, and as the car of Joachim Bulting Porsche is brought back, his co-driver Hendrik Still is one of those very disappointed drivers. Pro-Am hopes are done. We heard from him before the race. We can hear from him again. Alex has managed to find Hendrik Still down in the pit lane.
Henrik, it was always going to be a little bit of an outside chance, but I mean, how are you feeling as you watch on and just see that being towed in?
Yeah, I mean, this little outside chance was destroyed direct in turn 3, like I know, or turn 1, I'm not sure. But he stopped the car in turn 3. I think he had a contact. I have not all the information right now what happened. We need to see it in television later. Yeah, anyway, it's over and out. It's not our weekend. All in all, yeah, absolute frustrating season. We were leading the Pro-Am class by 60 points after half of the season. And yeah, I would say the second half of the season was really a disaster for us, more or less. We still had the chance. We were hoping for it. We were fighting for it. But yeah, now it's over and out and we go home.
It's been quite a roller coaster for you guys, hasn't it? Reset, kick back into play for 2026?
I mean, I don't know in which constellation, but my program is quite full. So I have already 3 championships are fixed for next season. I do the GT4 European, GT4 Germany, also the NLS in 24 hours. So my program is complete full. I have a lot of winter testing and winter series I'm doing. So yeah, I'm coming back. I don't know in which series, in which championship. If silver class, Pro-Am, M for sure not. But yeah, I will be back definitely. Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah,
bad luck.
Good to have him back, because Henrik Still is a very quick driver. There's a rather broken BMW. That's the Joachim Walder car. The Schubert Motorsport car, as you see, badly damaged around the right front corner. So let's have a look at the start once again. Keep an eye on Charlie Hart, the white McLaren then, because that was the first casualty. So he's on the inside line. Hadrian David in the Toyota on the outside. He's ahead on the outside at turn 1. Charlie Hart... Yeah, it was David up the curb, I think, and that sort of flicks the McLaren off the road.
Yeah, it's the slightest of contacts, isn't it? It's definitely not intentional. And then just trying to spot the yellow car, that Supra going off, and it was next to the elite McLaren. That's just about to come through shot, potentially, depending on what speed it was doing. There it is there. So, yeah, we get this aerial view of it, but it is the slightest of contacts. And then I'm looking back for those 2 yellow cars into now, and they weren't together at all, were they? And completely separate incidents.
Yeah.
And it was actually the Jafali car into the side of Bolting. Right. It was those 2 cars that damaged each other. So, so much to digest here. And we get another view this time right above the cars. And, yeah, Hart just meandering off the onboard there. I can assume the energy that gets put into the car as the wheel gets hit, I think it's just ripped it out of his hands. We saw a similar thing in British GT at Brands Hatch with Mark Warren in the Optimum McLaren.
That's right.
And
yeah.
Ravi Ranmead in the BMW, and it was the slightest of contacts, and the wheel just got taken out of his hands and straight in the barrier. So that is brutal way to finish a brutal year for the 812 RAFA Racing McLaren.
Well, there is 77, which is Ali Al Jafari, ready to go if the car is allowed out of the pit lane. Elite have got it ready. So Eddie Ives' team are there. And the barrier work has been really quick. Rather than having to worry about a whole strip, some concrete blocks and tyre barriers have been put in the gap, and it's been moved back into line. So the officials have done a really, really good job here. The red flag went out at 13:21, so that was only about 10 minutes ago, if that.
Yeah, amazingly fast to get that turned around, but yeah, I think that does need to be looked at.
Let's get back to Alex. She's found a team manager for us now.
Well, I have taken the opportunity to speak to a very emotional Guillaume who has had some tears a moment ago. I'm expecting them to flow. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It's a very hard season for us. It's very close with my two drivers, but today we can celebrate it. It's not the ideal finish, but it's a good finish for us.
But it was, you know, the chances were very high anyway. The boys did a fantastic job yesterday, and it feels like your season this year has just been a constant upward trajectory, hasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Last year we started the season very good, and after we finished P2 at Jeddah, and this year we same another story and a best story.
It's incredible, and making history. That trophy cabinet is just growing and growing with these European titles.
Exactly. This is the first title for us. Title in France, in Europe the same year.
Yeah.
It's ideal.
Congratulations.
No word.
It's coming. The tears are coming. Congratulations. Well done, guys.
Alex, you nearly got him to cry. Well done. Mirage Racing have won the Pro-Am Championship. That's the reason for the emotion, courtesy of Alexander Weintraub and Stanislas Safronov. But they've also won the French Championship. So a great season for the team, great season for the drivers. So we are 11 minutes on from that red flag being shown. The clock has carried on ticking. We are awaiting news as to the resumption of the race. I'm trying to think back to what happened at Spa, because there was the red flag, wasn't there, in the second race, and that, again, was it was resumed, but not for the full remaining time, if I recall.
Yeah, it was halfway, wasn't it, between what they should have had and what they could have had if it was a full resumption / pause of the clock. So SRO officials will be working hard, just making sure they're maximising the timetable. And with so many support races here, it's a difficult job to keep all of these cars happy. 40 cars in GT4, 60 cars in GT3, GT2. 10 cars, we know it's growing, and then Lamborghini Super Trofeo as well. So there's a huge amount of infrastructure going on at these race weekends.
Parc Fermé is open, so the team's been given a bit of repair time. Now, there's not a lot else, I think, that can be done down there. And here come the teams then, onto the grid. Lots of drivers out of cars, so even if we are good to go, there's got to be a 10-minute countdown at best, hasn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Let the teams go through their procedures.
And the 10-minute board has now been given, just as I was saying that, the 10-minute board logo flashed up on the timing screen. So 10 minutes to the resumption of the race. So we could be on, effectively, for half an hour.
Yeah, exactly that. By the time they get round, it would be a 30-minute sprint, potentially. So when would they open the pit window? And that will be something that we will find out in due course, of course. And here is our lead car, and you can see the car is in neutral. That's the big N in the middle. On the McLaren, the red background means you're in ignition state number 1, which I know you're desperate to find out what that means, David. Basically, you've got full electrical power, but the fuel pumps are off. So it's just
tell us.
That's stopping. I was in the mid-flow actually. That stops the flow of the fuel going, which draws a lot of current out the battery. So that's ignition state 1.
What's ignition state 2?
Exactly the same as 1, but with those fuel pumps that I was just talking about. So you probably could have put that one out if you were listening. There's ignition state 0 as well.
Oh, do share. No, don't. No, don't. So we are 10 minutes away from the resumption of the race. And we can have a look back at what happened yesterday, just while we have this break between the 10-minute board being shown and the race getting back underway. So there is the grid ready to resume race 2. Let's look back at race 1. So then, as the race burst into life, it was a good getaway by Josh Rattigan on his way down towards turn 1. Jan Duran on the outside line. But then behind, it all started to get rather toey as the Porsche of Edwin Helston and the Audi of Greg Gilbert got together. They tagged, they spun, and off in avoidance went the championship-winning Audi of Robert Constantin and Benjamin Larich. Then Eric Evans got involved with Ricardo van der Ende's BMW. Most of the cars scattered in avoidance, but not, sadly, the BMW of Jean-Mathieu Leandri. That was safety car 1. Safety car 2, David Kuhlmann and Julien Rippet off the road. Then Rattigan, the race leader, had a puncture at turn 1 and clattered his way through the gravel. After the pit stops, it was Alex Papadopoulos who was the race leader, but a hard-charging Gabriele Piana put BMW number 12 into the race lead. Dramas in the pits for Joachim Bolting, the Porsche, badly delayed as mechanics had to double-check the bonnet clips, and that delayed the car, which had had a poor grid position anyway, yet further. Bolting back into the race, as up into second place went Hadrien David around the outside of Alex Papadopoulos in the Mercedes AMG. And then the Supra set off in pursuit of the leading BMW as a mistake was made by Brandon Oxley down at turn 1, and he went through the gravel. For the race lead, Hadrien David found the gap on the inside at the end of the pit straight and went through under braking for turn 1. Toyota ahead of BMW, two comparable cars, while small BMWs got themselves together right at the very end. Paolo Maloney tagged by Joachim Walder. Maloney was able to rejoin. Walder hoofed it off the grass and spun. Up to the checkered flag then, and victory came. Hadrien David and Jan Duran. A really good result for the Toyota team, and for Duran a win on home soil. Now, the clock has stopped at 42 minutes. So we now have a message that says red flag plus stop time. So I reckon we are going to have 42 minutes.
Okay, so still going to be a good race, and we'll get info on when the pit window now opens. Of course, that shifts, and so then we'll know our new pit window effectively. But it's going to be a 42-minute sprint race rather than a 60-minute sprint race, so it just means the ante is upped.
It is, but we've already had effectively 2 laps of it, and it will resume, of course, behind the safety car. So the race has started. It's not a complete restart. We're talking about the resumption, not the restart as such, if you like. The race is suspended, not stopped, but we are looking at 42 minutes and 12 seconds being on the clock, and the 5-minute board has just been shown.
So yeah, the team's going through their final throws. They will have the auxiliary battery plugged in. The engines obviously still will be at operating temperature, so they will fire up with a minute to go, and then everyone will vacate. I wonder if any teams would have changed their tyre pressures just with the few laps we've done, potentially able to bleed some of those pressures out. And some drivers, well, quite a few there, still needing to get their crash helmets on. And strange as a driver, you've got loads of time and you've only got to put a balaclava on, some earplugs, a helmet, hands device, but then you put the helmet on, that the balaclava's not sat right and you take it off, and then you're rushing and it sits even worse, and then suddenly your procedure that you're so used to getting ready nice and early and being calm can go out the window. And again, that's just a bit of jeopardy that a red flag adds to you as a driver.
So for the Elite Motorsport team, 77 is going to be able to join in, but it'll have to be from the back. Of course, the race will continue as soon as the safety car moves away. The clock will start to tick. So, oh, now the clock has been reset to 43 minutes and 1 second. Plot thickens. Anyway, I was going to say it's creeping up all the time. You're going to lose a lap, of course, with the safety car bringing them around to get things back underway. Let's hear from Greg Gilvaire next. His Audi that he shares with Paul Petit is 4th in the queue. Greg Gilvaire is with Alex Legui.
Now, Greg, you and Paul have had a roller coaster season. You've had an awful lot of bad luck over the last few rounds. However, this could work in your favour, couldn't it? You've already, or Paul has already capitalised on these mistakes.
Yes, we lose too much points in every races this year. We had nearly bad luck, but I don't know if can say luck or not. But yeah, we had too much trouble to fight for the title. So we will be back for sure next season to fight for the title. And this race, yes, we cross the finger. We are in P4, so yeah, we need to finish in the podium. It would be really good.
Yeah, it really would. Yesterday was really disappointing and was not your fault. What sort of car do you feel like you have? Is it a winning car here in Barcelona?
It's not an easy car. The Audi in Barcelona, in quali it was quite fast, but during the race, yeah, we lose too quickly the rear tire, so it's tough to be in the to finish in good position. But we will see. And yeah, yesterday it wasn't my fault, to be honest. The 87 didn't respect the rule. Cut the chicken, put me on grass, and I was responsible at the end because I touched the Porsche. So I say sorry to the guy for the Porsche. We was quite lucky because we did a spin together without any damage. So yeah, again a bad luck, but it wasn't my fault, I think.
Well, fingers crossed for a nice clean end to this race. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.
So Greg Gilbert looking a bit more chipper about today's race. Paul Petit is in the car. It was Paul who had that really nasty accident at Spa, didn't he, in the other red flag race of the season, going back to the end of June. We've had the 3-minute board shown, so the grid is now being cleared. We'll have another board at the 1 minute, and then after that, effectively, when the safety car leaves the grid, the race will be back underway. The clock has tweaked itself again, as you will have noticed now, up to 43 minutes.
Yeah, flat as well. So that's nice and easy to work out for the teams. But all the cars now will be slightly heavier on fuel, so no fuel saving worried, no brake saving even, because they're just going to be flat out. So I just feel the ante is getting ramped up even more in this final European GT4 race of 2025.
Grid now being cleared then as the mechanics go back into the pit lane. There is Ali Al-Jafari getting ready to go, and he will have to start, of course, now from the pit lane after everybody else. And that car, having got involved at the start of the race with an incident at turn number 1. Right, so there we are, 43 minutes on the clock. The grid, such as it is, it's just one long queue of cars ready to be released. And the 15-second board, make sure that the drivers are aware. The teams will be on the radio as well, because if you're in the queue, presumably you can't really see the flags and the boards that clearly. But the messages will be getting through that we are about to go racing once more. And as the leaderboard scrolls through on that scoreboard for the fans, the safety car moves away, and we are back with the race live once again. Safety car for at least one lap. Everybody now sets off in pursuit.
Yeah, and this is a chance to get those tyres back up to temperature. And there you can see Joachim bolting with the livery of the season for me, the circus clown Joker emblem, and still smiling, even though that's the worst way to finish your season.
Yeah, it is, and he's been a really enthusiastic competitor this year. The first half, as Hendrik still was saying to Alex, was really good, and then it kind of unravelled a little bit. And he's come on as a driver as well. He's been much more competitive, event by event by event.
Yeah, and I think that's down to Hendrik still as well, just coaching him out of the car, all the good pros using data and video tools to show the AM what you should be doing, why you should be doing it, and more importantly, how. And then they're able to get that pace and perform on track. And as a collective pro-am pairing, you then get better results.
So this is the view from the Meloni family BMW. And now the view from out the front of Mackenzie Cresswell's McLaren. He'll be looking to see when those lights go out on top of the safety car. The idea of this, of course, is to generate a bit of tyre warmth, tyre temperature disappearing while I've been sitting on the grid. So maybe, what would you do if you were the race director? 1 lap, 2?
Yeah, I think once past the pits is enough. We've got relatively good ambient at 22 degrees, track temp at 25.4. So I think once past, that's 9 kilometres of getting some heat in. And of course, there was already a fair amount of residual heat. So that should be enough for these drivers to get underway safely.
Number 1, Mustang, just going through shots. That car is currently in 11th place. Michael Haverans at the wheel of it. 17 is the Benjamin Lessin, Ricardo van der Ende BMW. Benjamin Lessin at the wheel. He did not get a race yesterday because it was damaged in that van der Ende spin. So that car, in theory, ought to be one to watch. So the safety car brings them to turn 10. No indication yet that the lights are being extinguished, and therefore that does indeed suggest one further lap to bring things up to temperature.
Yeah, and we saw the restart done twice, didn't we, by Ratican in that elite car that's leading today. And it was always done at turn 12. First one was late in 12. Next one was slightly earlier. The McLaren, like we said, struggles in a straight line, so wants to try and get the gone and the slipstream effect hopefully negated somewhat to the Toyota behind.
So Mackenzie Cresswell, race leader. It is Adrien David in second place as the cars come over the line. Third at the moment is Robert Consani. So could the silver champions round out the year with another victory? That'd be quite a way to sign off, wouldn't it?
It really would. And look at the Audis, third, fourth and fifth. They're flying in formation for one of the older cars, and that Supra, they've obviously had to get to work. It was on its double height stands. That's why the car was so high, and interesting doing that in pit lane. Shows you how precarious it is as a race mechanic having to get the job done. But looks like the driver now walking away, and it's day done for the 25.
Yeah, the car's just been retired. We've had confirmation. So Jose Carlos Perez out of the race after that incident down at turn 1. So this our second safety car phase, one up to the red flag, and this to release the cars after the red flag as they come up now through turn 4. Mackenzie Cresswell then is the race leader. Currently the leader of the Pro-Am class, Thibaut Mojica in the Ginetta that won yesterday, and the leading Am, Daniel Blickler, won yesterday and also won the championship yesterday with Max Kronberg.
Yeah, really strong all season. Safety car in this lap. So finally the race director agrees with me on something, and we will get this race back going, probably with about 38 minutes or so remaining as they cross the line under green flag conditions.
And it's this part of the racetrack where the incident occurred with the barrier damage as people slowed, and some got the message sooner than others. That in itself, I suspect, will be looked at by the stewards as to why we had to have that red flag. It wasn't just cars off. There was a big enough accident to do all that barrier damage as the Toyota was pretty much just punched off the road. Yeah,
under safety car getting fired off is never a great feeling, and no one makes mistakes on purpose, but the drivers, and again, the concertina effect. I'm surprised at the end of a season, drivers are getting caught out by that. Yes, Cresswell slowed the pace down, but that always happens under safety car. The 48 car here leaving a huge gap, but that then concertina's up harder. We go on board with our leader. When's he going to drop the hammer? Safety car restart 2 yesterday was now, and the first one was any time now. He's looking in the mirror, trying to see if he gets the jump, and we're gone. Exactly the same place as Ratkin.
So Mackenzie Cresswell then leads the way. Those yellow flags are going to be replaced by green any moment, because up the inside of the curve at turn 13 comes Mackenzie Cresswell as the race leader, ready to get things back underway. He powers out of turn 14 now, up towards the timing line, and the race back on then. Cresswell already about 3 lengths clear as he comes across the stripe ahead of Adrien David, and then it is Robert Consani in third place. We are back racing with just under 38 minutes on the clock here in Barcelona, and a good lead into turn 1 look for Mackenzie Cresswell.
Yeah, it was a perfect restart. It's the Supra of Schwartz down in 6th. That's the closest in the lead pack to that Willy Motorsport car of Nikolai here that we're flying above. Great view here. You can see the cars working. That Supra seems to be supreme in the corners, but actually look behind. You can see Piana in the Borisan Automotive car getting a run on the yellow Supra.
Yeah, those BMWs we know have got plenty of poke as the car of Ali Al-Jafari has joined in at the back from the pit lane as there. Hudson Schwartz goes a little bit deep. Just able to get the car back to the apex of the corner, therefore, and cover off Gabriele Piana. The Audis of Speed Car have got themselves together. Look, Consani just ahead there of Paul Petit, 3rd and 4th. But Robert Consani really is pushing to go after the 2 race leaders. Mackenzie Cresswell trying to escape up the road, and Robert Consani 3rd ahead of Paul Petit in 4th spot. So Mackenzie Cresswell it is on this 5th lap of the race, leading the way with just under 37 minutes still to run.
Top 5 looking very evenly paced right now. Actually, I'd say the green Audi we're following in close pursuit looks like the fastest out of the bunch. Paul Petit seems to have got the car going, but look at that, he's on the defence, and actually it's Nikolai looking to the inside in turn 10.
So he can't quite find a way through there, but the Willy Motorsport Audi up with the 2 Team Speed Car entries, the French team, and then you've got the next Toyota, Hudson Schwartz in 6th place. So battle on for 4th overall and 4th in silver. The very quick Romanian driver Sergiu Nicolai right there on the back of Paul Petit as they drop downhill out of turn 13, then coming up towards the line. McLaren leading Toyota, then it's Audi, 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 Toyota, BMW, Ginetta, BMW and BMW to round out the top 10 as they come then over the timing line, and it's BMW alongside Ginetta now for 8th place. Through goes Pedro Ibrahim, and also through goes Benjamin Lecen, so that shuffles Mojica back down to 10th place.
Yeah, and there's a Mercedes battle in the background as well. I think it was Oxley and Papadopoulos fighting into turn one. Piana here is going to get a very good run through 3. He's going to try and open this corner up, stick on the bumper of the Supra, and then hold it tight, and then that will give him the inside into 4. But now the Supra starting to pull away with the clean air, of course, helping, and maybe there Piana just struggling in the dirty air, losing some of that downforce.
The Porsche, I should say, of Ismail Ebrahim has been given a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. Ismail El-Akhi, rather, 10 seconds for causing a collision. As there to the inside line dives the BMW, and Gabriele Piana shows Hudson Schwartz how it is done. Really nice pass that by Piana, and we know just how quick he is. He absolutely excels in BMWs. He has won the championship 2 years ago with the BMW M4. He switched teams last year but kept on winning. And although Piana is also racing in GT3 this weekend, put him behind the wheel of one of these cars and he's a man to beat.
Yeah, Piana knows how to pull the strings, doesn't he, of that BMW. It's key to getting good performers out of it, and he's the man that gets things done. I think he was rather unfairly done at Spa for some overtakes I thought were hard but fair, but this weekend, again, he's the man that makes the moves.
And another battle going on lower down as 74 Aston Martin just goes through on the inside. That car was in the gravel yesterday, but Will Orton then goes through ahead of Daniel Blickler. And Blickler accelerating his way up round turn 12 as the AM championship leader, and indeed champion after yesterday, but leading in the race right now as well. Out of 13 they drop. The leader's done now 6 laps, and Cresswell's building the lead, 1.2 seconds. He's done the fastest lap of the race now as well. So Mackenzie Cresswell getting away from Hadrian David in second place. In third it is Consani, fourth is Petit, fifth is Nicolai, and Piana then up into 6th place.
Yeah, and David also getting away from the Audis behind. Mercedes battle rages on, and aggressive lunge to the inside there, and it's Kastelic now from Papadopoulos. Oxley has dropped off the back of this Mercedes GT4 Cup battle. The 3 of them raging hard at the moment.
So the race leaders then work lap number 7, as there you've got the battle going on for 12th in silver. Mark Kastelic just ahead at the moment of the Alex Papadopoulos Mercedes. That rather faded yesterday, didn't it? Papadopoulos has been a race winner, but I think Luc Ibanez is still the quicker of the 2 in that car.
Yeah, Ibanez is a bit like Piana in that regard, gets things done and always seems to be on the front foot going forward, and trying to go forward here, Paul Petit, and it does look like Kazani's struggling a bit. He's starting to lose touch with the Supra of David in front. Piana starting to close that gap as well, so this 3-car Audi battle could be joined by that Borusan Automotive car, which, to be fair, is bringing the Toyota behind and the sister car of Pedro Ibrahim too.
Race leaders down at turn 10 then. There is the number 1 Mustang involved in a bit of a battle with a similar car out of a different team. Michael Haverans versus Marco Signoretti. The 2 Fords have got themselves together. They're going through is number 5, which is Ruben Del Sart, another car that retired yesterday, but it's getting better today as up towards turn 12 comes Del Sart on the back of Daniel Blickler, and the Lotus with Alberto Nasca starting it. That's involved in the battle as well. Facing the wrong way though, 96 BMW trying to rejoin. That is the Sergei Sorokin and Vasily Vladikin BMW that turns itself in the right direction, has to get across the gravel, hoping not to get bogged down there, and should just about be able to dig its way out.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay in the background here, and the Simpson Motorsport car was definitely the innocent party, was already at the apex and then got assaulted by the Porsche. Hopefully both cars can continue.
The Lotus there sitting on the back of the Aston. Alberto Nasca tucked up behind at number 5, that being the Ruben Del Sart car. 19th and 20th they run, and in the Mustang race, as it were, you've got Haverant still ahead of Signoretti. That Ginetta is falling down the order, isn't it? Thibaut Mojica falling away seemingly now.
Yeah, after a mega result yesterday, doesn't seem to have the pace whatsoever, and you can see the quick dry kicked up by the Vinley Motorsports car this time is seeming to have overtaken Kasani, of course, and now he's up to 3rd. So different speed car behind him now, and it is this car that seems to be the fastest out of the Audis. He needs to, because look at Piana, he's closing in fast.
Yeah, Sergio Nicolai going really nicely then, having got himself up into 3rd place. This is how he did it down at turn 5. So Sergio Nicolai through on the inside, gained the place, and nicely done that. You've got to be pretty committed to get past Robert Consani because he's a champion of this year, but Sergiu Nicolai, who's showed really good speed this weekend, gets the job done nicely. Yeah. We are, just quickly to say, under 3 minutes away from the pit window opening now.
So a couple of laps more to go, and yep, great scalp there to get the champions behind you in a similar car, and again just really illustrates the pace that the 310 car, now in third, has unlocked this weekend.
Race leaders go by, and Cresswell now 2 seconds clear of Hadrian David. So the pit window opens at 13:58 and 6 seconds, and it is coming up to 13:56 local time. So a couple more laps. The sun, depending on where you are in the queue, you might be able to save yourself a lap and get in early. More and more drivers being warned about track limits. As up the curve there goes the Ginetta. So Thibaut Modrica dropping down to 12th place, still leading his class, but that car not going as well as yesterday.
No, and I wonder if there's any contact that happened on the melee of the opening lap, and they're just trying to get the car to the pit window to maybe adjust, but maybe they could have done that during that red flag period, of course, so maybe that is the pace that they've got there. And the 27 Porsche Russell there, third in its class at the moment, has gained 2 positions so far.
And again, down towards the left of turn 5 they come, the blue Porsche there, Daniel Blickler, who's only a relatively recent convert to motor racing, but already a champion, and he goes very wide up the curve, and that opens the door now. Look for Ruben Del Sart to have a go on the inside. Alberto Nasca right there as well in the Lotus behind him, but actually Blickler able to regroup and hang on to the place as they go now up through 7 and 8. But Ruben Del Sart, former Ginetta Junior racer, again challenging, looks to the inside, Blickler fends him off.
Yeah, fire so far, but Blickler's starting to make mistakes, and Nasca there drops a wheel off. He's lost a load of momentum, and potentially as well for the next 2 corners as he cleans his tyres back up.
Alberto Nasca not losing too much ground actually out of all of that. As up the inside goes Del Sart's got the job done. Out of turn 10, Ruben Del Sart goes by then, so the Aston ahead of the Porsche, ahead of the Lotus, that is catching back up to the tail now of that WNS Motorsport run. Cayman. Race leader goes by, Mackenzie Cresswell, 2.5 seconds up the road, and a 10-second penalty to the race leader for a jump start. Exactly what has happened to Ratican yesterday happens to Cresswell today. He's adjudged to have jumped the start.
Consistency is key. That's what's drilled into you as a young racing driver, and well, I'd love to see the onboard like we saw yesterday. Was it as nailed on as Ratican's, or were race control looking for it? It always feels like as a driver, when it's happened once, race control are alerted to your tactics and then have heightened senses of any misdemeanors.
So there is confirmation of the jump start. Yesterday it was phrased as speeding before the start. Today it's a jump start. Look at this, Gabriele Piana in the BMW, right up with the Audis now. He's on the tail of Petit, who's on the tail of Consani. So really pushing very, very strongly is that BMW as Gabriele Piana tries to work out where he can make a move. Pit window is open, but if you're the quicker driver, and Piana most definitely is in that crew, he might stay in the car for a bit longer than others.
I think Cresswell needs to stay out as well, because that 10 seconds is going to push him back, so he wants to go as long as he can. So this is the onboard, so we need to keep an eye on the speed. The number underneath the big number 2 is the speed. So we're at 80k now. We'll see the lights now on the gantry. We're holding speed. This is okay so far. The speed building. Yeah, we've gone too early. We've gone now, lights green. Not as bad as yesterday, but 2 to 3 seconds too early, and good call from race control. And there's just no hiding from it. The cars have GPS speed, and we've got the onboard camera there. And naive would be my polite way of describing that.
Well, the elite team not very happy, as Piana actually surprises us rather by coming in early to get out of the traffic and make the stop, even though you could argue he is quicker than Beke Bejler. The other side of this coin is to give himself a bit more preparation time before he gets into a GT3 car, because he may well be the start driver in the World Challenge Europe race. Over the timing line he has now come then, so he's in the pit lane, and so also Hudson Schwartz is in, Thibaut Modrica is in, and Alex Papadopoulos in as well.
Yeah, pit lane not too busy at the moment, no tyre changes doing, so you don't get the undercut effect like you would in a tyre change race where the fresh tyre gives you a huge advantage. Tyre pressure bleed going on both left-hand side tyres at the moment for the French CMR team. As you can see, pit lane now getting busier and busier, and I think Cresswell will go long. I think that's what Ed Ives and Jodie Fanning on the elite pit wall were doing with the hand signals of, we just keep pushing and we hope we can get a bigger gap to the cars behind.
So there, Gabriele Piana done for now, and he will make his way first of all to the team and have a word, and then he'll make his way to a different team and a different car and a different rule set for his final race of the weekend in a GT3 Mercedes AMG. Lots of things are being investigated, incidentally, at the moment, but up front, 3.4 seconds. Mackenzie Cresswell is certainly having a good go at building that lead, isn't he?
Yeah, from David, and correct me if I'm wrong, David, which I know you enjoy doing, but I haven't seen an investigation about Henry David, the 87, and the RAFA racing car at turn 2, that incident. I think it was a full racing incident, but I'm surprised it's not being investigated.
Yeah, the only one we had was Charlie Hart and the 25 Toyota, which were two separate incidents. So they're looking at the Charlie Hart side of it, and they're very, very committed to try to get ahead of Stefano D'Aste. Coming out of the pit lane is Stanislas Safronov, and he's going to be alongside as they come down the pit lane. That, I would imagine, race control will have a look at.
Yeah, I like it. I'd imagine what's happened is the Lotus is under its minimum pit stop time and is slowing down before the pit exit line, and the Aston Martin was okay, and Safronov was like, I'm not slowing down. Race control won't look fondly upon it, but I would always just say to race control, if I was Safronov, has anyone got hurt? Has anyone got injured? No, just let me crack on. Racing's racing, and they were very fair, because if I was Safronov, I would have pushed the Lotus over the blend line to give him a penalty. So I think all is fair in love and war and GT4 racing.
We'll find out whether race control agree then, because at the moment we've got Mackenzie Cresswell trying to build a 10-second gap. He's up to 4 seconds pretty much as into the pit lane here comes Paolo Melloni to give way to Davide Melloni, the father and son combination. You've also got Nico Farah and Vinny Beltramelli's Porsche there just in front of us. So more and more the pit stop cycling through, and again with a crowded pit lane, this is key to when you bring the car in. You don't want to get delayed, you don't want to get trapped, do you?
No, you really don't, and they're trying to go as long as they can with this car, so when it adds 10 seconds to its pit stop, it doesn't fall into the clutches. But if you get stuck behind these slower cars of Safronov and D'Aste, that won't work either, so potentially going to box this lap to get out of some potential traffic, and then where will they go? I think they might stay 6th or 7th position, because the pace of Cresswell has been strong, and he's built a nice margin to the cars further back.
So here we have the cars down towards turn 1. That's Bekke Bechler now at the wheel of the number 12 BMW, and Josh Rattigan is getting ready to take over. And Mackenzie Cresswell, the race leader, still pushing. So the team asking whether they have to serve the 10 seconds in the pits or if it's added to the race time. And traditionally you serve it in the pits, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's a mistake not pitting that lap. And they've now caught these 2 cars, another 2 cars leaving, and D'Aste running deep into one as well. So I think now Cresswell will be all over the rear of that to make a very British yellow car train as they fly through turn number 3.
So the race leaders accelerate on, and here is then a very busy circuit ahead of Mackenzie Cresswell. There's Stefano D'Aste in the Lotus. This is not what Cresswell needs, of course, to try and open up that margin, is it? He does not want to be held up in traffic. Doesn't matter whether these cars are coming back into the race after a pit stop or not. It matters not to him, they're just in his way.
Yeah, but then the cars don't want to get overtaken, because if there were another safety car now, they've gone a lap down, and that really rules them out. And you can see the 31 car there getting a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. So when will they box? They could squeeze another lap out after this one if they needed to, but I think with those 3 cars in front, definitely the Aston and the BMW, they will start to slow that McLaren up.
So down towards the left-hander there of turn 10 they come, then the road starts to climb a little bit. So Hadrien David has given away to Jan Duran, yesterday's winners in that Toyota Supra. The car now heading back out on track and down towards turn 1. So this car now in the hands of Duran will be really interesting to see the pace relative to the McLaren, and indeed where the elite car is going to be when it completes that now longer pit stop.
Yeah, this should be our race leader, Duran, on it straight away with a huge slide through turn number 3, so he's up to speed quickly, has a good feel and control of this Toyota Supra that has been strong all year. It's just had slight bits of bad luck as Cresswell does finally pit to hand over to Ratkin. So this pit stop should be 86 seconds, the minimum of 76 plus 10.
For that penalty, as in comes then the yellow McLaren. Away is about to go a BMW behind, so that car rejoining, that's Olsen's car. This is Jan Duran in the meantime on target potentially to take over the race lead. Sergio Nicolai in the meantime is the leader on the road, but he owes us a pit stop, as does the second place car currently of Pedro Ibrahim. So this, the best of the stoppers, Jan Duran then now coming out of turn 9. That blind right-hander, you come over the brow and then you sort of see the corner and see what's the other side of it, drop down towards turn 10. Grandstand towering over the circuit at the back of the paddock. There is the car leading on the road, but owing as a pit stop, Sergio Nicolai in the very distinctive Audi. Right, Mackenzie Cresswell out of the car, Josh Rattigan in the car.
It's going to be close this. He's got another 20 seconds until he can be leaving the pit exit line. And with 40 to go, the Supra is just coming into sector 3, which takes 40 seconds. So I think this guy's going to finish, cross the finish line as the elite car is leaving pit lane. Then the momentum that the Supra has will carry it forward. And this is going to be a great illustration. You're going to see the Supra come into shot now, and there is the momentum, and there are the two speed car cars behind. So actually staying out with Cresswell has kept them a lot higher up. I think they may even be third. Where will that Willie Motorsport car, was that Ratkin just crossing the white line? It was like touching it.
Yeah.
I've always been told from the race directors, you've got to treat it like it's lava or a concrete wall. And if you touch it, I want to see if your car's damaged. And I feel that line was touched.
Yeah. Treated like a barrier, say race directors, and Josh Rattigan then keen to get on with the programme. Meanwhile, the leading Audi of Sergio Nicolai into the pit lane.
Yeah, the 12 car's done well here in the pits as well, isn't it? This car had pace with Piana, but now has jumped in front of the two Audis. This is the third Audi. Where's this going to be? It could be second if the in-lap was good. That's the number that's sometimes hidden from us, and that's where the teams really dive into the delta. The drivers are drilled. Your in-lap needs to be as quick as anything else because it's so important on the switch around. So driver change finishing up there, and window net finally put in. It's been a bit of a problem. The car controller annoyingly saying hurry up, and I think Nicolai knows he needs to hurry up, but was struggling, it seemed, with the window net around the back of the seat getting tangled up. That car needs to be leaving in the next, what, 10 to 12 seconds to make its minimum pit stop time and not go too far over.
So here then is the Audi on the way. That then goes to Tudorache, and this is Jan Duran hustling on, confidence up after the win yesterday, and indeed a win in the second race at the Nürburgring. So 2 on the bounce for the Toyota team. Can they do 3 in a row? Jan Duran with the road to himself, but now we'll start to see who else feeds in around him.
It's going to be a bit closer than it was with Ratkin. He's still going to blast past in that Toyota, I think, but it is tight, isn't it? The Audi getting up to speed well and is going to slot into second. Careful of the white line. That's much clearer. There's no chance race control would look at that one. Whereas Ratkin, I just feel his left wheels cross the white line right at the end of the very long blend pit exit line.
So there now is Tudorache, who may well drop back. In fairness, he's not been as quick this weekend as Sergio Nicolai, but certainly going nicely. It is Jan Duran up front then in the Toyota, and there in second place is Josh Rattigan. In third behind him, you've got the Beke Bessler BMW, and just under 18 minutes of the race still to go.
Yeah, and incident noted car 7 and 54. That was the pit exit one, wasn't it? And battle here as Ibanez getting down the inside of Signoretti, now in the Academy Mustang. Going to go side by side. I think that battle will carry on all the way down the hill here into the tight one, which will favour the Mustang. But Ibanez doing the double switch back there. That was aggressive and nearly caught Signoretti away. A huge drift there, rear tyres screaming for mercy, and suddenly the Mercedes looking very strong.
It is indeed, and now Ibanez goes to the inside at turn 7. Not an obvious overtaking opportunity, and it doesn't quite work. Bit of hip and shoulder. The Ginetta is in the mix as well. So Marcus Signoretti, Eric Evans' car then just about hanging on to the place. It is Eric Evans at the wheel of it, and he's still just ahead of Ibanez as they come out of the corner. But Ibanez now has the inside line for turn 10. Drag race between the Mustang and the Mercedes noses dip as they hit the brakes, and Ibanez gets it done, goes through on the inside, and you have to work hard for that.
Yeah, great clean racing from all three. The Ginetta there, Monica, just almost hanging around with a brush, ready to sweep up if there were any incident. Now he's trying to send it round the outside at turn number 12, tucks in, slight bit of contact, but so far really, really good driving from all three of these drivers.
And we're on lap number 16 then in this restarted race. So now that Eric Evans has lost the place, looks like he's coming under attack, does it not, from the Hugo Mojica-driven Ginetta. The leaders have gone by, with Duran ahead of Tudorache by 1.9 seconds. Ratican is third, and Josh Ratican not quite as quick as Jan Duran, but he is certainly closing on the second-placed Audi. Berke Bechler runs fourth. Now, Bechler's BMW quicker than the leader.
Yeah, Bechler is the quickest man out there right now, and 3/10 clear of anyone. So this Borusan Automotive car seems to have form. We saw this yesterday in the race with Piana, then it faded towards the end, and that's why they lost the win to the 87 Supra that's leading again today. So have they made an adjustment to the car? Is it looking after its tyres better today? We will find out in the remaining 15 minutes.
As through goes Berke Bechler, then the sister car a little bit further back. So there you've got number 12 BMW, then going up through turns 7 and 8, way up over that so-called yellow banana curb. And this then is the race lead. You can see what the gaps are like. This is Jan Duran ahead of Tudorache, and then Josh Ratican in third place. In fourth is Berke Bechler. So that is the leading quartet that at the start of the lap was covered by 5.9 seconds. And to the eye, you would say it looks less. Yeah, you would. Lariche's pace is okay, but the top four in their own battle at the moment we see. But I do think it's going to start to close up between the four. You can see the Ginetta still behind the Mustang. Ibanez still on the move. Nice aggressive car input showing the cars around him that he means some serious business. But at the moment, I do think Duran's got enough. Although Sector 2 was particularly slow this lap. Is he just managing it, or is that him flat out? There's the Lotus, Stefano Datste to the inside line, dives through, gets up alongside the number 2, Edwin Helgston Porsche. That little battle going on for 21st, 22nd, 23rd places, and Datste on a mission, moving himself through. So Lotus versus Porsche. You've got Aston Martin next in the queue as well. 14 minutes are still on the clock here in this GT4 European Series finale. And in the background is Max Kronberg there, number 30, the AM champion, and indeed still leading in the race as well. So it's been a really good season for Max Kronberg, and another class win for him and Daniel Blickler-Beckens by the look of it. Yeah, they're that sole red number background, aren't they, in our lead tower, and that's been the story of the season for most of it. They've been phenomenally fast as we see the battle here raging on. Ibanez again trying all these different lines to try and make moves work. Around the outside is a long way and a high risk, but at the moment this is favouring him because it's job nearly done, and the next corner's a left-hander anyway. So here, next little battle to keep an eye on is for 10th place. Look at Ibanez pushing forward, and he's just got himself up past the Javier Sagrera Toyota Supra. So Ibanez then goes through. That's the Mercedes on the attack, and we know how good Ibanez is. Alex Papadopoulos, as I say, has had a couple of wins with him, but certainly Ibanez seems to carry the weight in that team, doesn't he? Yeah, Ibanez and Piana, for me, really the standout drivers of the season. They've been consistent, they've been fast, they've been aggressive, everything you need to be in European GT4. Berke Bechler and his stablemate Jagish Gedik, the BMW drivers of note. Gedik getting ahead there of Gilbert and very nearly giving it back as he ran rather deep going into the corner. But Jagish Gedik then now up into 6th. Greg Gilbert down to 7th in the other speed car Audi. But the BMW is really looking fleet of foot right now. The GT3 equivalents could do with the same benefit, couldn't they, as they come out of turn 14, because in qualifying for the GT World Challenge Europe earlier on, BMWs did not look all that racy. Right now, the GT4 equivalents do look quick, as across the line, 4th and 5th are, 4th and 6th, Bechler and Gedik. Cars go through, then down towards turn 1. And the BMW here looking pretty strong, is it not, at the minute?
really is. And the other strong car is Rattigan. He's been reeling in the second place Audi at a very quick rate of knots. He's been the fastest man on circuit for the last couple of laps, bar nobody, as this battle keeps going. And Gedic seems a bit allergic to an apex. All of a sudden, he's caught an anti-apex disease, and at the moment, that's giving the Audi here of Gregory Gilbert an opportunity to get the position back.
So together they run downhill. Greg Gilbert crowding onto the grass there, couldn't find a way past the BMW, ran out of real estate and slots back in as they wriggle their way now up over the curb, heading up towards turn 9. Meanwhile, Tudoraci is coming under attack from Josh Rattigan, nose to tail. Rattigan on a charge here, and he's got himself right onto the tail of the Audi. Yeah, and he's caught him at such a rate. I think this will be a move done in the next lap as they cross over. We've had a penalty for the Lotus of car number 54. Track limits, that's 5 seconds going to be added to that car that's running in 21st right now. So down to the end of the lap comes Tudoraci with Rattigan right there behind. We've got just under 11 minutes of the race to go. And Beschler currently 4th, Lariche 5th, and Gedic in 6th place. Leaders go through then, and now Josh Rattigan in a situation where he's about to attack for second place. He has got to make this a clean and incisive pass under braking for turn 1, and he's going to do it nicely. Josh Rattigan goes through. Now he is released, and he's going to try to make up 4.1 seconds against the leader with 10 minutes to go. So Rattigan now in the car that did the fastest lap in the hands of Mackenzie Cresswell early on. He needs to be on qualifying pace. Yeah, I think it's too much to ask. Let's see. But I think that was smart from the Audi of Tudoraci there, not to battle, not to lose time, to try and guarantee a podium position for the Willy Motorsport car. They've worked hard all season, and this would be a great way to round out the championship. Would indeed. So their best result of the year coming up. In fairness, though, Tudoraci's not giving up, is he? He's staying on the tail of Rattigan. Now, Josh then in the first sector, fractionally slower in sector 1. And then Josh Rattigan only now really being able to think about what's ahead, not what's behind. But he hasn't shaken off Tudoraci, so he's still got to concentrate a little bit on his mirrors. And then behind them, Bekke Beschler is closing, and that is the Maloney BMW that's got a problem. It looks a bit crab-like, and it's now stopped on the pit straight. Yeah, front right looked a bit odd, but he's going for a full reset. So yellow flag at the moment. Race control will probably give him 20 or 30 seconds. It looks obvious that it's going to be clear, but you can imagine two cars battling nose to tail as the car does get moving. So we should go back to green, but an interesting one there. So there's obviously a system reset needed as this battle continues to go between Gedic and Gilbert. And it's for 6th place. Jagic Gedic just ahead. Greg Gilbert tucked up behind there now as they swoop their way up through the right of turn 12. Greg Gilbert, who will reflect on this season of possibly quite a lot of missed opportunities, and never really has that looked as good a speed car Audi as the sister car. It's a new chassis built up after the Spa crash, but they've really had a tough season. They've been in the leading mix, but never the totally quickest of the Audis. Over the line then goes the leading battle. Durand to Rattigan now 4.1 seconds. Gedic versus Gilbert are going to be side by side, and the braking to the inside line goes Greg Gilbert past the BMW that's still stranded on the pit straight. And Jagic Gedic stays ahead with a yellow flag there. There was nothing really that Gilbert could do to commit. Yeah, a bit racy that, and Maloney not able to get that car out the way, and he stopped again, and that was the noise I was wincing at. We saw something at Spa, but Gilbert now under green flag conditions. It looks like he's got the overlap, and this should be claiming the position back off the BMW. Through he goes, up the inside. Greg Gilbert goes through then, so nicely done. But he runs a little bit wide and back to the inside, tries to go Gedic, but he couldn't make that stick. And so now, with 7 3/4 minutes to go, we've got the Audi up then into 6th place. But they're still being shown the way by Tudoraci. Lead gap, by the way, came down by only a 10th within the first sector of this lap. So it looks as though Durand is measuring the pace. And we're going to go full course yellow. A full course yellow is being called because of this BMW in an awkward place. Yeah, I think it's the only decision race control could do. We've got yellow flag in sector 3, but I think that is a mistake. It's sector 1 now the car's crept into, of course. And everyone now getting down to 80k. There's the reason for the full course yellow. Hopefully a quick recovery. You can see there's a gap in the wall just to the left of your shot. So this could be
recovery, and we still get maybe 3.5 minutes of green flag at the end. The battle that was forming was Bessler was catching Tudorache at a rate of 0.8 of a second for the last couple of laps. So this battle is going to go for the final podium position between the BMW and the Audi, currently in third.
Now, all of this eating into the time that's available, but just bear this in mind. Josh Rattigan hustling on in pursuit of Jan Duran. He has just had a warning flag for track limit offences. Rattigan has got 4 track limit offences next to his name, so he does need to be careful.
And Tudorache with 5 as well himself, so the leader, 0. That's an amazing stat to have. So with the time remaining, could almost do a track limit on every corner of the remaining laps if needed. Don't know if that's an obvious tactic they've deployed or just well-mannered driving from the 87 Supra. And yeah, at the moment they look odds on to make this 2 wins in a row at Barcelona.
As they're turning through is 97 BMW, which is the Stefan Nilsson car. That's quite a long way down, in fairness, in 32nd place. Igor Sorokin's McLaren. Mercedes rather, comes towards us with Rima Jafali behind. That's the battle for second within the AM Cup, and you can see nose to tail.
Yeah, BMW out the way, so we could go back to green any time now. And what a turnaround for the Jafali family there. They were looking down and out, weren't they? The red flag really saved them, so we're on board now. Full course yellow flashing. You can see he's holding it. He's slowed down to 75 there. Should be going, and he has gone. That's a perfect getaway there. And you can see the leader in front look like an even getaway. But interesting, Rattigan slowing down to 75k just before the restart. Big snap of oversteer. You can see the rear tyres have lost a bit of temp, and that's why he's struggling there. And McLaren really looking hard work. Misses the apex there. Throws a load of lock-in, and again the car very active on exit. 5 minutes to go. Great job by the marshals. More racing than I expected at the final race of the year.
Car might be active, so too is Josh Rattigan behind the wheel to try to hang on to it as he climbs the hill again. So the gap down to 3.7 seconds. He's hustling on. So the Toyota team looking for a second victory of the weekend. Still up front and off the road now goes the Tim Horrell Ismail Alaki Porsche that was second in class yesterday.
So far off at 12. I think you could cover that with a local yellow. Let's see.
We'll find out because the car certainly ain't going anywhere. And yellow flag. Well, the car is off the racetrack. The race continues. We've got 4.5 minutes on the clock. And that, again, you saw other drivers trying to press on colder rubber. The McLaren nearly got away from Josh Rattigan. The Porsche has got away from Tim Horrell. I think it was behind the wheel of the car. What slightly complicates all of this, of course, is getting the driver out. And Tim Horrell, as a disabled driver, as we saw yesterday, needs the assistance of a wheelchair, so it's not a straightforward recovery operation in that car's case. Here in the meantime is Toyota versus Ginetta, and Hugo Mojica gets up the inside there, tries to get through, and he does go through on the inside line, dropping down the hill. That puts him ahead of Javier Sagrera. Nice pass. Yeah,
nice pass. I don't see many moves done into 13. There's barely a break in a GT4 car, so he's got a mega run out of turn 12 where the yellow flag is out. And yes, you're right, safety should always be paramount, and that's the race director's main job here as cars thunder into turn 1, and the Super trying to get back past the Ginetta as well.
So the cars come out of turn 1. Off the road there goes Nathan Van Springel, and he's back on, but he didn't go to the rejoin lane, so that might get looked at as well.
The David Addison rejoin lane. I think you've got shares in cars that use it, but you're right, you broke the rules, send him to jail.
So let's see how that is going to affect life. There is that extra lane, so if you go off, it enables you to follow that lane and rejoin safely, not just randomly skip back in front of other people and possibly cause drama, as we have had in other races this weekend. Ibanez here ahead of Ricardo van der Ende as the Mercedes AMG BMW battle continues on the track, although van der Ende is a lap down.
There's damage on the front of the Ibanez car, and I didn't notice it earlier, so I don't know if he's picked that up as he's got past either this 17 car or maybe the number 1 Mustang behind. Look at the lead gap down to 0.7 of a second. And this is getting really, really tight. And Rattigan pushing on hard. Look how much closer that Super is coming into 13. Remember the track limit issues. We're on a black and white warning. The car we're going, the car in front can do as many as he wants. Snap of oversteer at 140 kilometers an hour. Great save again from Rattigan. He's given it everything he can, but he's got to be so careful of the track limits, and that makes you keep the car tighter, works the tyre harder and gives you even more oversteer. We're going to squeeze 2 more laps out of this one.
And the margin, 0.8 of a second as Jan Duran goes over the line. Josh Rattigan charging on down to turn 1 where he had that tyre let go yesterday. Stands on the brakes and again it quivers under braking. He has to really fight the car in 3rd gear through turn 1. It's not an easy drive, this.
I don't think McLaren are going to put that on their website as a product you want to go and buy and drive. That looks absolutely awful to drive. I've had better handling shopping trolleys than that one. As soon as he hits the brakes, the car's trying to spit him into the wall, trying to flash his headlights to around, won't be looking in his mirrors just yet to get back up to a second. But that McLaren is very, very loose. And Rattigan, I feel, is throwing everything, kitchen sink and all, at this.
This is how we are in the championship. Lariche and constantly the champions. Jan Duran and Hadrian David are going to take 2nd ahead of Piana and Bessler as downhill goes that McLaren. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Rattigan is throwing everything at it. The car doesn't want to comply and it is being tortured virtually in its quest to get onto the tail of the Toyota.
McLaren use the Artura now for their ice driving experience I do with them, and I've got more grip on a Finnish lake than Rattigan does right now. Phenomenal skill as we look at the Ginetta and the growl of the Mustangs in front. It's quite a menacing proposition for Modica to chase down.
And in the Pro-Am Championship, confirmation that Stanislav Safronov, Alexander Weintraub have secured that with the demise of the Henrik Steele, Joachim Bolting Porsche on the 1st lap of the race. And we also know from yesterday that the AM Championship won by Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickler.
So we have kept it under local yellows, haven't we? The leaders coming into the last corner now to start the final lap of the season. Can the Toyota hold on? Has Rattigan got an idea? Can he get a move done to claim a very dramatic win after another penalty for their car today? Incidentally, the Lotus has picked up 2 5-second penalties for track limits in very quick succession. Not quite sure how he'd do 2 so quickly, but anyway, it has. Rattigan is even closer onto the last lap as they get into turn 1. 0.7 of a second was the margin, and as they come now, the Toyota has a little quiver that time. Rattigan right on his tail. Giving it everything, and he's now in the dirty air, and Duran is definitely pushing. He's got nothing left to give. He's using his track limits up wisely. He's only done 1 now. They break into turn 4. What balance have we got? Car in front gets the apex. We miss it slightly with Rattigan. Picks the throttle up. Is even on exit. They're both squirreling on this low grip Barcelona surface. Over to the right, hard on the brakes. Get the car in. Going for a deep late cutback to try and get a run, but the oversteer kills that. That's advantage Toyota. Didn't want to turn in when it finally bit. The back stepped out of line, so Josh Rattigan has to try all over again. Captain car control at his peak here is Josh Rattigan, as way up the curb goes Jan Duran. Rattigan certainly has the pace, but he's having to fight a car that does not want to do any of the things that Josh wants it to do. Out of turn 9, running out of corners, running out of options now as he comes down into the left-hander of turn 10. So the GT4 European Series finale has given us a dramatic race, no question. Up the curb at turn 10 now goes Rattigan, but I don't think there's going to be an opportunity unless Jan Duran makes a mistake, because never really has Rattigan been close enough to attack, and again he has to fight the car through 12. Eventually he gets it somewhere near a clipping point for the corner, but it does not want to comply. Coming out of turn 13 then, wide up the curb goes Jan Duran. That might well be the track limit warning we've been looking for, but the checkered flag awaits, and it's going to be 2 out of 2 in Barcelona for Jan Duran and Hadrian David, who come across the line to win the final round of GT4 European Series from, in 2nd place, Josh Rattigan and Mackenzie Cresswell, and 3rd across the line, Berke Bechler and Gabriele Piana. In the classes, the Pro-Am fight is going to be won here by Thibaut and Hugo Mojica. The Ginetta is on target for class honours, and in AM it's going to be Max Kronberg and Daniel Blickler in the Porsche that won the championship in the category yesterday. So some wonderful racing, some frantic racing. Another great season in the GT4 European Series. The silver champions, Benjamin Lariche and Robert Constantly, given a penalty late race, but they have come through for 6th position at the end of another dramatic GT4 European Series race to round out season 2025.